Hello, everybody. Andy Murphy here again. We are on week 6. Week 6. And for so many of you, right? So many of you have messaged me about this one topic. Obviously, you probably know me. And if you're here anyway, you probably know me. But we're going to get into all of that. And for those of you who've been on many of these week sessions, then there are going to be some slides that you recognize. Why? Because not everyone's like you, right? Everybody is new to this, or I just need to show who I am and make sure you're in the right place. But today is sales. This is where my career began. I'm going to show you some of that stuff. And it's kind of something, it's just beautiful if it's done correctly. As long as you're ethical, you're selling the right product and service. Sales is a beautiful thing, right? But unfortunately, there's so many people out there that are just teaching it the wrong way for the wrong reason. And that's one of the reasons that I've come here today, right? Because obviously, you know me, I'm a high stakes advisor, done this for 22 years. I work with neuro performance, sales, and business strategy at the highest level. And the reason I'm here is I really want to set the record straight around sales. I want to set the record straight around coaching. I want to set the record straight around what's possible for you and the level that you can play at. But we'll get into all of that in a moment, okay? Any questions? Hit the chat. If you're new, hit the chat anyway so you can make sure that, you're up to date with all the things that are going on. And make sure you stay in to the end because that's where you get to ask me questions. That's where we get to hang out. That's where I get to know you. Even if you've got no questions, I'm going to have some questions for you, okay? So let's jump in. Let me share my screen and let's go and have some fun. Let's go and have some fun. So here we begin. Here we begin. If you're new, this is where we start. Neuro performance, micro certifications, and masterclass. If you're not new and you're a veteran these days, then you'll like this screen and you've got to know it very well. So what's today? Kind of not my favorite topic, but kind of my favorite topic, right? It's definitely part of the ecosystem, and it's one of the most important things. If you're not on performance, right? If you're not on your absolute best every day, that's part of the triangle, right? If you don't have the business strategy dialed in, that's the other part of the triangle. The third part of the triangle is sales, okay? Don't have the first two right, sales becomes irrelevant. Good at sales, but don't have the other two, they become irrelevant. So it is that triangle. So today, it's about science of influence, as you can read, right? So why state control beats skill set for high ticket closing? You're probably going, well, Andy, I don't know you, or maybe you do know me, but I don't know you and why I should listen to you. We're going to get into all of that very, very soon, right? We're going to get into all of that very, very soon. So today, it's pretty cool. How the brain makes decisions. This is what we're going to focus on today, how the brain makes decisions. Ethical influence and techniques for sales and leadership. Yeah, I'm going to give you a couple of little language patterns that might help you. High stakes decision making and persuasion, and case studies and practical application. And as always, I give you some action steps, right? Give you some action steps. So whether you're listening to this on the replay or you're live in person, either way, I just hope I give you lots of value. And I really hope if I don't do these again for a while or maybe ever, and I'm going to be running these 4-hour, yes, 4-hour events that you can be part of, then I'm going to give so much more value. So if you find this valuable, you're going to find that so incredible and life-changing. Should we carry on? Good. Thought you might say that. So subconsciously blocking sales. Now, the unconscious, subconscious, in this aspect, we're just going to say it's the same thing, right? It's your brain. It's your autonomic nervous system. It's the bit of you that is on autopilot, okay? So this affects sales in so many different ways. It affects business, it affects marketing, it affects branding, it affects It affects your decisions. It affects how you, well, we'll get into it all, but as you can read there, sometimes we overthink or hesitate in high stakes conversations. Now, this could be closing deals. You might be building, you might be trading, you might be doing a business merger, you might just be getting something started. Either way, you're going to start to experience these things. So have you ever given the perfect pitch but still lost the sale? This could be bringing on investors. I'm actually bringing on sponsorship for my podcast right now. So we're negotiating lots of terms, things that could be happening in Dubai. I'm excited about that too. This is all negotiation. Talk about that for another time. So do you feel some sales pros just have it and maybe you don't? Or if you do, not all the time. Okay? We're gonna look at that today. Have you ever let a bad mood or off day affect your performance? This could be in sales. This could be just in general life and business. And if you're married or have got a partner, they probably feel this effect more than most, right? That's the entrepreneurial life. So do objections still make you uncomfortable no matter how much training you've had? You've answered yes to any of these. It's not your tactics. It's not your tactics. It's your state. And let me explain what a state is in a few moments. Very quickly, it's a version of you, a hat that you put on, a role that you play, a specific belief, attitude, language, value, focus, expectation, neural net. It's that version of you. Version of you who's selling is not the version of you that's a mom or dad. It's not the version of you that goes and relax. They are all different parts of your whole brain, okay? So where we can dial those in makes you step into absolute peak performance, right? So external skill set, internal skill set, mastery under pressure. Where 99% of sales, training, and people go wrong is they throw in the tiniest little bit of oh, it's all about you. We've got a little section on mindset. This has nothing to do with mindset, okay? Nothing to do with it. So what you got to understand is you can have all the external skills in the world. It's important, by the way, right? You must know your craft, okay? But if the internal part of the equation isn't focused on building your nervous system, your brain, right? Being able to step into flow at will, being able to step into pressurized environments in flow, right? So your decision making, right, becomes easy. Those two components create mastery. One of those components on its own, well, you end up spinning in circles, okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Give me a yes if it is in the chat, you know? But let's join in with this because when you start to understand this, skill set hits a threshold. And I talk about this in an interview I did yesterday. But we hit thresholds, we hit boundaries. We can't move past to the next boundary or the next level or blue ocean or where you want to move to without understanding and mastering a new skill set and a new internal skill set. Okay, make sense? Maybe, maybe not. If you've got questions, message me. So just to let you know, you're in the right place in regards to sales today. This was our post I put, on February the 8th. We're on the 19th today. I'll show you the comments on this because they were actually quite cool and quite awesome for me. But just wanted to know you're in the right place for sales. I was just thinking of when I sold 22 properties. That's $952,000 each, right? In today's money. Closed them in 5 months, 100% close rate. That's a $20.9 million run. No scripts, no second chances, just execution. Okay? At this level, closing isn't about tactics. Everyone has skills, everyone knows the game. What separates the elite in sales, in business, is total control over psychology. Yours and theirs, right? It's not just about what you say, it's about how you shape on their unconscious mind before even the deal begins. Master that, and closing isn't a question. It's certain. It happens. Why? Because, well, we're going to go into it all, right? We're going to go into it all. So I just want to let you know you're in the right place, right? I've trained so many sales departments, hundreds of sales trainers. I've done this for a long time. And remember, it is one of the triangle around my high stakes advisory. So this today is for visionary CEOs, founders, or high-level consultants who are ready to break free from the limitations and step into the next evolution of wealth, influence, and strategic power, right? Founders, you could be running an online business. Whatever it is, right? This is where we take control. I've already mentioned it, but we're going to mention it again. I'm hosting a live event that I really, really, really would love to offer you an invitation to, right? If you're here today, I know you're in the right place to be able to get all the things that you need to be able to move forwards in your life. We're going to take that to a whole other level. 4 hours. Think about, I do this in 60 minutes. Think about what 4 hours is going to do for you, right? So confirming the date, confirming the date because it is going to be emceed by somebody. So just confirming that. But right now it's on the 5th of March and we're on Zoom. So you're used to this format, right? We're going to look at subconscious sales system, how to influence decisions. We're going to look at the guided discovery and decision engineering to get prospects to sell themselves, preempting objections, emotional rewiring, right? High stakes influence. And that's really how top closers create instant authority and trust. That right there is the most important one. But again, we'll get into all of that. So it's for founders, entrepreneurs, and sales leaders who are closing high value deals. It's for consultants, negotiators, or high ticket closers who want to convert effortlessly. Sounds good, right? It's for executives and high performers looking to master influence at the highest level. So this is what the live event's going to be. And yes, you can get in for free. Absolutely. If you want to take it to a whole nother level and get more interaction with me personally, then there's a VIP and platinum upgrade. The platinum, by the way, is kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing, but talk about that to another time. Let's jump in. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So, who is invested? Like you've already probably reading some of the names there. Who's invested in world-class performance coaching? Well, Google, right? Google, Larry Page, all of these guys, Steve Jobs, Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook, Yahoo, even Jeff Bezos. There's a reason that they fold time. There's a reason that they accelerate to that whole other level so fast. And that's the type of people that I love to work with. Have you ever worked with any of those? Not yet. Not yet, right? So, especially not Steve Jobs. I'd love to work with Steve Jobs. I know I could switch him on even more. So, what do? I train elite founders, CEOs, and high stakes closers to navigate uncharted waters, close bigger deals, and turn pressure into profit. Neuro-performance, like I've spoke about, neuro-performance, sales and strategy equals creating results no one else can compete with. So if you want that, then stay to the end, have a chat with me, and especially jump into that live event. You're going to love it. My goal, my mission is the same as Peter Thiel's. I want you to achieve your 10-year plan in 6 months. Might not be 10 years, might not be 6 months, but if we can half or quarter the speed and efficiency of how you achieve that dream, wouldn't that be worth it? It would be worth it, right? So how we do that, first of all, is we build you, right? And these are some of the slides that some of you guys have seen already if you're a regular, but keep coming, come with me, right? Because the 8-figure thinker version of you, remember the states that I spoke about, right? The neural nets, the different roles, the hats. Well, we have to build you into an 8-figure version of you. This stops something I call the snapback effect. It gets you out of the boundary condition that most people get stuck in. Otherwise, they move forwards. they get caught in something I call the gap, they get triggered again, the rubber elastic band snaps back inside of this box. When we build who you really are at the highest level, then what happens is how you perceive the world changes. Your beliefs about yourself change. Your attitude to what's possible, how you talk, communicate to teams, how you close deals, what you focus on in the deal, right? As we're talking about sales today, how you value the product, how you value the next words that are coming out of your mouth, right? Because if we're leading someone down a path, the next words out your mouth are either going to take them off in a direction or it's going to take them to the next progressive commitment that leads them to where you want them to go. And if there's ecology there, ethics, then it's also the best thing for them, right? So your job is to build yourself into the 8-figure thinker, because your brain or their brain will replicate you, right? It will mirror you. That right there is the absolute secret to elite level sales. It is. Talk more about this in a few moments, but it absolutely is. And it's the number one thing that 99% of sales trainers miss, because what they want is they want you in pain. They want to give you strategies, new techniques, new language patterns, new models, new things. Keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. They don't ever want you fixed. And that's the same with marketers. It's the same with all of these other people. Me, I want you fixed. I want you to not need me. I want you to use my techniques and strategies and bring me in, but I don't want you to need me, right? I don't want people in pain. I want people in profit. Does that make sense? Okay, beautiful. If you agree, give me some yeses here. I would appreciate it, right? So again, the rules of wealth have changed. And the question is, has view. The world is evolving faster than ever. Titles no longer guarantee security. Companies don't offer stability. Success isn't about what you've done. It's about who you're becoming. And when you understand this, everything changes, because no one saw the impact of AI in business. No one can predict the impact, the massive impact of quantum computing, but the people that do stay ahead of the competition, right? That's the same thing with this next level of sales that I'm going to teach you. Because the truth is, being stuck, being the old version or current version of you, it sucks. It sucks. Because everything that you want is over here. 8-figure thinking, right? Pressure of the economy, getting stuck in the familiar, and makes you think, feel, and act a very isolated way. Then what happens is you end up hanging around with people who think on that level. There's a law of 33%, which I can teach you another time. But when you start to understand this, we have to move. We have to take action. We have to do something different. And if this resonates with you, you're not alone. The world rewards bold evolution. We have to adapt. We have to change. And this is why I love this quote. And then we'll jump into the I'm in the UK right now visiting family, so the meat and gravy, right? And so Ray Dalio, one of the greatest investors has ever been in the history of mankind, from working class to multi-billionaire. And he attributes much of his success about what he's learned about the brain as he does to his understanding of economics and investing. And when you truly, truly understand what that means, again, it goes back to my mastery equation, right? External skill set, internal skill set, both together create. Well, that created Ray Dalio, so it can create you as an elite level salesman. Again, very quickly, I've already kind of covered it, but I'm a world-leading high-stakes advisor. Spent over 2 decades rewiring the brains for clarity, resilience, and blue ocean thinking, attract world-class opportunities, and building elite networks to turn pressure into pressure. I put that, pressure into profits. It should be. So that's it. Unlock your full potential. Designing genius to see the patterns of business, finance, and the future. And the way we are right now, especially as we stepped into 2025, the game just speeds up. And it is a game. And you have to be at your, not good. Good's no good anymore. You have to be at an elite level to stand out. The brand, the business, whatever it is, has to be an elite level. And that's what I want to give you. I want to give you the edge, okay? Same protocols I train billionaires, $300 million CEOs, world champions, royalty, celebrities, and eight-figure thinkers, thought leaders with. All of the same stuff, all of the same techniques, all the same protocols. So I want you to pay attention, okay? So why now? World's moving fast. You must invest in yourself and your future to stay ahead of that competition. Sound good? Happy? Take a big deep breath because we're about to jump into everything. Excited? Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's do this. So why most salespeople fail? The hidden pains. And remember, this could be negotiating. This could be bringing on investors. This could be negotiating with yourself. But let's talk about why most salespeople fail. Sales isn't just about skill. It's about neuro peak states. So pain one. Salespeople tend to focus on techniques, not the state. And what that becomes a challenge is that depending on who you're selling to, right, depends on the level or the sophistication of the buyer, okay? So for example, if someone was to use all the sales tactics that are out there, they're getting taught on TikTok and YouTube and all of these, most sales training out there, right? They give it, oh, it's 1, 2, 3 tactics, and then we do this. But if someone did those for me, on me, they just wouldn't get the deal. And so as you elevate who you're wanting to work with, right, or what deal you're trying to close, remember, more sophisticated clients mean higher level pricing, right? So unless you're trying to flood the market, nothing wrong with that, right? You can go for the everyday people. They're not going to need the level of sophistication of sales that I'm necessarily talking about. But when you start consulting at a higher level, you have to speak in a way and influence in a way that they know, but they aren't aware. And that's where the subconscious or the unconscious or what I call subliminal communication happens, okay? So when we use the techniques and the pressure comes, like it says there, people memorize scripts, but then you can tell if somebody's nervous, right? You can tell if somebody's hungry or hunting for a deal and their finances are in a mess and they don't know what, and they need this deal. And that's why people panic, because their nervous systems aren't conditioned. Their brain isn't wired correctly, okay? So pain two, from what I've seen, is with sales, talking about sales today, is they try to convince the person. It's like they're trying to trick them into buying, right? It could be a car, it could be a house, right? It could be a development, it could be a project that you're doing. So when you try to convince someone instead of guiding them, what happens? I'll tell you a quick story. I remember, and you've probably experienced this too. I went into a furniture shop in the US. And you know what it's like when you go into these places, right? And you have someone at the very front, you walk in, and then they become your guy or girl or they that follow you around the whole place. And they're trying to hide in the background, but they're watching, right? And always makes me laugh. Always makes me laugh. Because nothing wrong with that. It's cool. I kind of like it. But what this guy did, I sat down somewhere, and you'll see I do this a lot, right? And so I did that instinctively. I sat on a chair actually, which we were looking at buying, and I was resting on the table like this, and the guy came over and he did the same. So if you know all about sales, what are we doing here? You got an answer for me? What are we doing? If he replicates this and I'm doing this, what is he trying to do? What's he trying to do? And it was a he. Well, what they're trying to do is build unconscious rapport. This is called matching or mirroring. Again, it's old school NLP techniques. But when it's done wrong, it's like someone's put an alarm up. The alarm actually is your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind's default setting is one thing. It just wants to protect you. It just wants to keep you safe. So when we use these mirroring techniques, they have to come in an authentic way. That's where we talk about state changing. Because if I'm sitting there in a conversation with you and I just naturally start rubbing my arms, or I touch my shoulder, and then a couple of seconds later, because you're in the right pacing, you're in the right vibe with this person, then suddenly you do that, well, the unconscious mind then goes, oh, I can trust this person. Makes sense? So we can go into a lot more detail with this, but when it's done wrong, what it did, I didn't want to even give the guy any money. And I know he was trying, but you get the idea. So unconscious rapport to build control, and then we hypnotically guide people to make buying feel natural. All of these strategies that we'll go into, okay? So pain 3 from what I've seen is they let objections kill the sale. Now, it's interesting, right? Because objections that come over are on, I like them. I like them, right? Because if you don't get objections, what happens is it means the person isn't even paying attention for you. If they're just like, yep, sounds great, I'll give you a call, give me your number, bye-bye. Well, are they really engaged? Are we really slowing things down? Are we really pacing where they're at? Are we really tuning in? Do we really give a shit about that client or that potential client? Probably not. Where's people's focus? Focus is on the money, is on the sale. And it's such a mistake, and it's just not taught, because what's taught out there? Oh, we need another sales tactic, another strategy, another language pattern. And it's maybe true, but probably not. Probably not, right? And if you're watching this in the sale, you're dipped in sales right now, and you're looking for all of these other external strategies. Let's just slow things down, because I know, I can give you all those things, but the truth is, it's really not that, right? So an amygdala response means your brain is lighting up an alarm in its head, or your head, their head, his head, she head, that are you safe? And if you're coming over that way because your focus is off, your nervous system is out of whack, then the challenge is the client mirrors that, like I spoke about before. And when they mirror those things, what you're doing is projecting fear. And if we're communicating with the unconscious part of that person, then you understand why this doesn't work. So pain 4 that I've seen is they think closing is about words, not energy. It's just not. It's just not. Yeah, we can isolate the objection. We can overcome things. Sure, but then you get into pressure closing. That's a whole different strategy. It's an outdated strategy. It goes back to like the Wolf of Wall Street or Boiler Room or those movies. You've seen those movies? Yeah, I'm sure you've seen those movies if you're, or Glenn Ross, right? Those old school sales films that they're pretty cool to watch, right? Actually, I remember watching Boiler Room back in the day. Side story. I was an okay salesperson in Australia. We were selling investment real estate. Then I actually watched Boiler Room, took all the shadiness out of it, but understood the hustle. And when I did that, I actually became the top performer in the whole of Australia that month. Actually, maybe I think I was half a deal from the top performer. Being truthful, right? Being truthful. But I went from average to elite. And it's all to do with understanding energy. Makes sense? So I'm modeling conversations for another time, but I went on tour with the top sales performer in the company, in the country. And I was like, hey, I'm actually better than those. So I modeled them, unconsciously modeled their behaviors, right? How they slowed down, how they changed the tonality, their expressions, what they focused on, where they touched, where they engaged, where they set anchoring, right? Where they paced breathing rates. All of these things are crucial, crucial. But if you're off, they're off. Make sense? Helpful? I hope so. I hope so. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. So what if you could drop into flow states consistently? What if you could work 5 times faster if you're running a business, right? Train your brain and your nervous system to operate at peak performance like elite leaders and athletes. That's the secret to elite level sales, not tactics and strategies. They are important, but they're only one part of the equation, like I've said. Makes sense so far? Good, good. So, 2, the real secret, neurostate mastery like a pro athlete. Kind of explained it already. Can't help myself, but let's jump into this. Let's jump in. So flow is what we want you in. We want you to step into seeing a client in a very altered state, right? An altered state where you're able to literally see you're so present that the little voice in your head takes over, and you so know your script originally, but then we ad lib off it, right? And then we customize it to whoever's in front of you, because you know the progressive commitments of the closing all the way through the stages to any deal, right? And what we've got to do is take them to the next stage, take them to the next stage, take them to the next stage. To be able to do that, we must enter a peak state. That peak state then must enter flow. Flow on its own means nothing. It has to have a pre-designed, pre-installed state, version of you, the salesperson, right? Then what we do is you use all the strategies to be able to enter flow. When we're in flow, the little voice isn't there to tell you what to say next. The little voice is there when you're reading micro muscles and energy changes in the client. So flow is incredible, right? We even go down to like productivity, 500% increase. We could look at decision-making clarity, improves by 230%. So decisions could be so important when you're in a negotiation or a critical sale, or your team's there doing a business merger. It's so important that everyone is harmonizing, and you're harmonizing with that client in front of you. Okay? You think this stuff's good? By the way, you want to come over to the 4-hour live. It's a different thing. So elite performers or elite salespeople, we don't push. We don't. We create flow, harmonization. That's how we do lots of the things that we do. So again, I showed you this before, 22 properties in closing in 5 months, 100% close rate. Well, the next slide's really cool because I put this on Facebook, and I started using Facebook much, much more. So if you're on Facebook, come and find me on Facebook, come and find me on LinkedIn, especially, come and find me on Instagram. Just come and find me and have a chat with me. But I put this post on Facebook, and this guy jumped in. And I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to explain who he is. So my what I said was, I'm loving working with salespeople again, as 99% of trainers focus on the tactics and strategies, not the tactics and strategies of guiding their unconscious mind. Before that can happen, and for consistency, you must build your own to be an automated Jedi. Things that we're talking about, right? John Monaghan. 100% agree, Andy. Your task is to take them on a guided discovery. Your job to become a psychological engineer. I love that term. The mission is first moving your own internal conversation to certainty, and then guiding your client's internal conversation from uncertainty to absolute certainty about you, right? Your product and your service. However, you can't just hope for certainty. You have to learn to congruently embody it on purpose. I responded, love it. Yes, of course, exactly. Everything is about guided discovery and progressive commitment closing. Preemption of the objection, yet really preemption of their pact and state, which must be again emotionally unconsciously guided to a predetermined destination. Might sound like, what the heck does that mean? Well, I've given you little insights to this already, right? In the last 30, 40 minutes. But this guy is one of the elite salespeople in the entire planet. Entire planet. His name's John Monaghan. He was one of two people that trained me 22 years ago. And they watched me just accelerate. But it was all of these neurolinguistic, behavioral psychology, all of these things that they were absolute masters of. So for John to jump in there, I absolutely love it. John's going to come on the podcast at some point, because him and Pete passed away recently, but they changed my life. And I've been able to change thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands through the podcast, other people's lives. So that's what sales is about, helping people. So I love this. So why do world-class athletes perform under pressure while others choke? I want you to understand this. Every pro athlete has elite skills, but only the best control state and flow. In sales, the best closers don't just know the script, they regulate nervous system and focus. Makes sense so far now, everything I'm telling you, right? So your state dictates your results. Fearful, uncertain, instantly equals buyers sense it, no trust, no sale. Confident, certain, buyers feel safe and certain, easy sale. And everything that I've been speaking about, have I showed you any closing techniques? Have I showed you any tactics? Have I shown, oh, if this person said this, then you've got these 3 rebuttals to be able to use on them? Use on them. No, that's not what elite sales is. It's not using tactics on them. It's harmonizing with them, because you are performing at your best. Remember the 3 pyramid, the three in the triangle, right? Performance, strategy, and sales. You have to get performance correct, just like a pro athlete, right? I've worked with a lot of world champions, a lot of world champion fighters, a lot of world champions in so many different pressurized environments. But understand this. You must treat yourself like a world champion athlete. So very, very quickly, I'm going to cover this strategy, right? My neuroconditioning system, which is part of the subconscious sales system, in the live, right? In the 4-hour live event. So again, you want to know more about this? Come over there with me. It's going to be fun. So decisions under pressure might not be the right ones unless we're on the correct state. And if we're playing the past, it can stop the future. And what I mean by that, if we haven't understood how to design, delete, and install neurology or states, flow states, then what happens is if we don't step correctly into this version of us, then we're still running these programs from what happened a minute ago, 2 minutes ago, or the 5 deals that you didn't close, or the last deal that you didn't close, or when whatever happened before. Does that make sense? That's why these people feel this uncertainty. So when people say, again, drives me crazy. When people say it's all about the external skill set, it's far from the truth. It's the opposite of the truth, in fact, right? So, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you're watching this and you're struggling, or you kicked ass before and you want to get back there again. It's not your fault because you're looking for marketers who are selling you their system to make them money. What I want to do, hand on heart, is make you millions. That's my goal. Because if you make millions, I do well, right? That's the system, right? Outdated business growth. Stop grinding. If you're not performing right now in sales, and this is what happens, it's what I call the flow bubble popping, right? And we all have moments of kicking ass, but then it's like it's popped. And then what we do is we grind. We got to push, 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 push. It's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. The absolute opposite. Pulverization, crushing, that's grinding. So it's become a normal term in business and sales, and it drives me crazy. Again, it's marketers, man, marketers. And you might say, Andy, you're a marketer. No, I'm not a marketer. I do marketing for my brand. There's a difference between being a professional marketer who can just market whatever it is. And again, if you're marketing ethically, then that's great. But most people are just not doing that. And they're just selling products to make money and then show more. Oh, look, all the money I made. Yeah, but you just let 100 people down. They didn't get any results. Yeah, but I made loads of money. Come over. Drives me crazy. So stop grinding and learn how to navigate this inner world. Make sense? So number 3, 8-figure thinker language patterns, overcoming objections. Now, I did say, right, skill set external, skill set internal. So I'm just going to give you a couple of simple language patterns that you can use, right? And you don't need to use these if everything else is dialed in. Language patterns don't make sense. There's a structure to your sale that we can break down and we can analyze. Besides you, right? That's the strategy component of the triangle, right? The strategy to get the sale. We need you to perform. So, but I'll give you a couple. So, the price objection, again, it's all about money, right? It's all about money. Andy, I can't come to this live event because I don't have money, right? I can't join your 25K a year program. Why? Because I don't have money. Right. Well, false choice. Reframe for indecisive buyers. I need to think about it. Normally what people would do, right, is I need more time to decide. Okay, take your time. Maybe we book you in again. Let's get something on the calendar. But that gives more people. We talk about the buying line here. That's a different concept. But buying line and emotional anchoring, different conversation. But what you've got to understand here is in that moment, they are in a heightened emotion with the neurology or the programs in their brain lit up big, thick, and strong, right? So that moment, that's where we have the best chance to be able to at least it's kind of like coaching. Really, sales is like coaching, right? So take your time, let me know. Or I need more time to decide is their objection. That makes sense. Yeah, I get it. Totally understand, totally appreciate that. So let me ask you a question. It's just a simple question. It's just really for me to understand, and maybe it would help you. But while we're sitting here thinking the things that we're thinking now, what would you prefer to make? Would you prefer to make a decision now while you have all the information and all the details and I'm here? and we can pull up any stats that you want. I can get someone on the phone. How can I help you? Or do you want to do this later when this opportunity may not even be longer available? Could be selling real estate. Could be selling something that's very exclusive and limited. Could be an exclusive coaching package working with me, and I don't have many, right? So what we're doing there is this creates an illusion of choice while leading them towards an immediate decision. What we're trying to do here, if you have done your job right, you shouldn't be closing at the end. Does this make sense? There shouldn't really be a close at the end. This should be progressive all the way through. Does this make sense? So what we're doing here with this language pattern is we're creating urgency, or later when this opportunity may no longer be available. I really don't know if this is going to be available, John. I have no idea. And I know you like this, and I know it's a good fit for you, that you agree, right? Absolutely. So if we can make this decision, if we can get all that your information that you need, because you've told me X, Y, Z, Q, and this is a great fit for you, then why don't we look at what you need to be able to feel comfortable to be able to get this a deal done today for you? Does that make sense? Right. Again, I'm just giving you something simple without all the other context, but that changes the way we deal with price, right? If you like that, give me a yes, give me a yes. Okay. So number 2, this could be for price objections. This is too expensive. This costs too much. I understand, but you're getting a lot of value, right? Okay. Here I wrote interesting. I would actually say, John, so listen, watch my physiology. All of this is with physiology as well. And breathing rates and tonality and pacing was slowing things down. So I get it. I appreciate that, mate. I do. I appreciate it. Are you saying this is expensive compared to what you've seen before? Because you told me about XYZ before, right? And you actually had a bad experience with them, right? You told me this. You also told me what you needed to be able to make this a win-win for you, right? So you can either sit with that and with that old memory, or we can do something different today. We can actually give you what you came for. We can actually get you the result that you wanted, because is it really expensive about what compared to what you've invested before? Or is it compared to the problem it's solving forever? Because if you keep doing this, it's only going to get worse. What happens if you keep doing this for the next 6 months? What's going to happen, man? Right? So what do you need to know today? What can I give you? How can we structure this? What can we set up? What do you need to know to be able to feel so comfortable that this is a home run hit for you? So we make this happen for you. Because if this is not the right fit for you, then you shouldn't do this. Absolutely shouldn't do this. But if it is, how can we make this work for you? Because I know the results you're going to get. So in 6 months' time, you can look back on now and know this was the best decision. Best decision for you, your family, your future, your income. Does that make sense? Get the idea? Did you hear the tonality, the energy, the pace, right? Get it. So this forces the buyers to define expensive. What's expensive? And we could even go down that path. What's expensive? Expensive compared to what, right? Expensive compared to Apple? Compared to a private jet? Expensive compared to what? Oh, your previous experience. I understand. But what was it you didn't like about that previous experience? So what would you do different to be able to make this the right fit for you? Okay, so if we can get A, B, C, D, and E done for you, this would be something that you're open to? Great. Again, am I pressurizing here? No, right? So it makes them compare the price to the cost of staying stuck rather than just a number. Make sense? Like this? Helpful? Hope so. Give me some yeses. Give me some yeses. So let's talk about predictable flow, because we've gone through overcoming objections. We've gone through neurostates, and we've gone through what the fails are, the pains of salespeople. So what we're going to move to now is predictable flow. So flow is an interesting thing. It's something I'm going to go much more deeper into in the 4-hour live event, but I'm going to touch on it here. Different versions of you have different brain waves, okay? Different brain waves get you to think, feel, and act different ways, okay? So that includes flow. Flow is a specific brainwave. It's actually a combination of brainwaves. Focus is a brainwave. Active thinking is a brainwave, right? Deep thinking is a brainwave. Introspection is a brainwave. All of these different brainwaves do different things. So what you're doing is you're getting in state, which is already predetermined. It's already installed in your nervous system. You're using different ways to light up the neurology. Then that puts the hat on and you can drop into flow. That flow then will be able to be mirrored, right, by your potential clients or your clients. That's how I create real revolutionary, life-changing results with my coaching, right? That's what I love. I love this. So again, I'm not going to go into detail, but everything comes back to this identity that I've touched on before, right? And I've explained this over the past 6 weeks, but I'll explain it very briefly again, and then we'll go into a massive amount of detail in the live, the 4-hour live event. But when we're trying to, okay, if you look at it this way, if your potential client or yourself, let's look at yourself first of all, because it's all about you. It's all about you. And so if you're in a fearful state, worried about closing, worried about not hitting results, worried about not hitting your targets or your KPIs, right? Your metrics, then the outcome that you're expecting or the path that is going from your brain, okay, to the outcome isn't going to be the outcome that you want because it's connected to the wrong emotion. It's connected to the wrong belief. And you can pretend all you want, right? You can pretend, oh, fake it till you make it. At high level sales, it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that, right? So when you understand that, then we have to look at this. You're automatically driven by your emotions. Their fear response or their issues or their past experiences, right? Well, what they are in is they're stored in part of the brain called the limbic system, right? And then that loops to protect us. What we've got to do is move them out of that, right? I'm probably going into too much detail. This is all going to be in the thing, right? This is what happens when we're working with people personally or when you're in my training academy, the 8-Figure Thinker Training Academy that's getting ready to be launched, which is pretty damn cool. Then what happens is we're playing around with these 3 parts of the brain, right? And there's lots more, but we're playing around with these 3 parts of the brain. And this is how we guide people, but it has to be guided by yourself. And this is not just about when you're going, all right, I'm going to go and do sales now. Let's step in. No, this is about the rest of your life, right? 9 environments of your life. Because if one of those things is generally off, you're not in optimization. You're not optimized. You're not in peak performance. So we need to change all this. Make sense? Make sense so far? I hope so. I hope so. I go into a lot of detail with these things and I really try hard. So what we're doing is we're guiding the old state to the new state. So we're guiding you to the old state, to the new state. So the old state, right, and where the client comes in, we're moving into the 8-Figure Thinker state or whatever it is, right? The state, the peak state, where they're buying. Does this make sense? Make sense? Good. That's the secret, right? I'm going to go more into that, but that's the secret. So you being an 8-figure thinker is the number one thing that you must build. What's the triangle? Performance, right? Sales, strategy. Those three things build and create the eight-figure thinker. Make sense? Beautiful. So my question, who are you really if you were unlimited today? Would you already be in the chat clicking that link to join? Yes, yes. Of course you would. Of course you would. So, case study. Again, nice and simple. Nice and simple. High ticket closer kept losing deals due to hesitation and poor objection handling. And now we know part of this sequence, right? So, solution, we use state control to eliminate nervous energy before the calls. We applied NLP patterns to overcome hesitation objections, and we anchored eight-figure thinking to control using breathwork and mental framing. What was the result? Closed 50K deal. Yes, he did. Closed the 50, name was Jack, and he closed the 50K deal in one call after implementing, well, eight-figure thinking protocols, right? Part of that, the eight-figure thinker protocols is subconscious selling system, right? We got the peak performance system, the subconscious selling system, and we have the eight-figure thinker business strategies. All of those three things are different. So my question to you, and I hope it's the right answer, because I've kind of got an answer for you. So what high leverage activity would you focus on right now that would lead you to create biggest money moves? What would you do? What would you do? You already know the answer. Okay, so mission for week 6. Again, that's a lot of words, a lot of things. So I'm not even going to go into it, right? You can read it. Neurochemicals flow. You get the idea. That's the things, and you can rewatch this. So the truth, elite results don't happen by chance. It happens by neuroperformance. I hope you've enjoyed this. I really do. And if you have, you just tasted the future of sales. Now it's time to join the top 1%. Come over here. Come to the live event. It'll be all over social. Be all in the link in the chat. Be on this YouTube video. Just come. I'm excited. Also, make sure that you're heading over to andymurphy.online, 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 where you can sign up to get the latest of these events. And yeah, just hang out with me. I'm excited to get to know you. So March the 5th, we'll go through some amazing things. Learn directly from me. No theory. 100 spots limited. Imagine yourself in 6 months from now, closing deals effortlessly, fully in control. That future starts today. Sound good? Enjoyed it? Beautiful. So, link in chat for the 4-hour event. You can also hit me up in WhatsApp. You can also email me, andy@andymurphy.online, if you want more information. Just let's hang out. Let's connect and design the strategy you need to accelerate into blue oceans of infinite income. Remember, I train elite founders like you, CEOs, high-stakes closers to navigate uncharted waters, close bigger deals, and turn pressure into profit. Andy Murphy Online. Head over to the 8-Figure Thinker Members Club. And hey, you've got over 400 hours of me talking just like this. So go and check the Neuro Performance podcast out. And yeah, I'll see you at the live event. So now let's jump in to the Q&A. Let me just press